this last season and my journey to get there was absolutely insane. But I still cannot comprehend the challenges, the triumphs, and everything I did to get to where I was, to be able to call myself an Olympia now. Like, it's still crazy. For those that don't know, my name is Alana Jukic. I am an Australian 400 meter hurdler, Olympic 400 meter hurdler, and I'm here just to share my journey of how I got to the Olympics. So it's June 2023 and I have just completed my 4 years within college in the USA system, where I was here at UTSA, University of Texas, San Antonio, studying my MBA and completing my track and field while I was doing it. So pretty much finished college season and not sure like if I want to continue in sport, continue, you know, my career. Was really kind of lost at this stage. So I had a lot of doubts. Now, there isn't much direction as an international athlete kind of where to go after college. I think because I wasn't like an All-American, there wasn't like a clear path kind of after graduate, have an undergrad and my master's, and I'm like, okay, cool, like what do I do now? I remember like calling my mom and was like, Mom, like I think I might just find something in a career-wise. Like I wasn't really sure if track and field was like any, like if I was going to do any more in it. But I remember like her just be like, no, like Alana, like you can't, like this isn't it, like you can't give up. In college, like I hadn't hit my peak and it was just more about like having a good balance of work to study and having a good balance of track and field. But I remember like finishing college and I knew that I had more to give in the sport and I hadn't hit that peak. So had a lot of uncertainty after college of like, do I come back to Australia, stay in the US, find somewhere here? And I remember like it took me about a year to adjust from Australia to US. So I wasn't 100% sure me going back to Australia was the right decision straight away. I think it was about October time. So I decided to stay in the US, kind of see out my option. And it was then like, I think the start of October, I was connected with Coach Rose Monday, which is, she's a more 4-8-15 coach here in Texas, San Antonio, where I was basing out of. So I was lucky enough to join her and her small group that she had. Pretty much moved to her. I decided that because it's an Olympic year, I wanted to make sure that I didn't change too many factors. Like back to Australia, I would have been changing my living situation. I would have had to maybe find somewhere to live. Like if I went to the East Coast, I would have had to probably find a proper job. But with me staying in the US, I was able to kind of focus a little bit more on my training and find just like a part-time like job or something like that. Connected with Rose, moved to her. I remember straight away that it was a big adjustment. I went from more of a 2-4 runner to more of a 4-8 kind of training base, which for me, that's something that I was lacking in. Like when I was, throughout my career, I've always been a more of a 2-4 runner and I've always been really strong at the start, but my last like 100 has been really where I kind of been weaker. So I decided that this is something that I need to kind of work on, and that was also the decision why I moved to her specifically. Straight away we got along so well, like how quickly, you know, you can connect with coaches and that. I was really surprised how me and Rose clicked. So it was really nice to have that kind of reassurance, you know, this is kind of a right choice for me. But I remember straight away, you know, when I was connecting with her, you know, spoke about, you know, what are our goals for this next season. The Olympics was in July, August time, and I was just moving to her around October time. I think it was like 11 months to the Olympics, which isn't enough to kind of really push yourself into that. It was definitely a lot of navigation for me personally because I've been new to the scene. Sit down, we write out our goals. Now my goal, I remember saying to her straight away, my goal was I want to be an Olympian. Like that was straight out. Being an Olympic year, you know, you have one chance in the next 4 years to kind of make that goal realistic. So kind of broke that down. Are we going to become an Olympian in a 4x4 relay, or are we going to qualify in an individual race? Because I came out of college, my times at that time were a 57 flat for 400 hurdles and a 54 low, splitting a 52 in a relay. I remember that kind of happening. I didn't necessarily have the times in a personal level, so we kind of opted at the start to kind of focus more on the relay. Now this is also because World Relays, which is the qualifying stepping stone to make the Olympics, was earlier. I thought that was the best kind of goal to aim for. And then, you know, if we didn't make that kind of minor goal, we had some time in between to kind of make it for the individual events. So moved to her in Texas. I think I went back home for Australia around Christmas time just to refresh, regroup, spend some time with my family, which was honestly really special. Like I love going home for Christmas time. It's summer. I love the summer Christmases, the beach. So did some really good training blocks. I think I was there for 4 weeks, had some really good training in. Get back to the USA, I think it was around the January 20th. So pretty much get back, get into training, and then we open up my season for indoor. So in Houston, now we opened up the 2 and we opened up in the 4. I wasn't necessarily 100% certain how everything was going to go. Now Houston, I don't love Houston track, so it's not the best track to kind of open up with, but that's okay. I remember straight away I got a PB in the 400, PB in the 2, so this was a really good start. Really good little birthday PB. I was really happy. Following week went to A&M Texas, so it's a little indoor season within Texas. So PB again, I think I ran a 53 mid-ish for the 400, so really good kind of reassurance that my times are coming down. PBing again, pretty much PBing every race. Shift then from indoor to outdoor. My first race for outdoor season was at my home track at UTSA, so where I used to go to college. 52 mid, I think I opened up with. Was really happy with that because, you know, the training, we were hitting the times, everything was coming together. Now, for me to make the Australian relay team, I kind of had to be placing around top 5 in Australia. So that time kind of placed me, I think, top 3 or 2 at that time. So it was really good kind of confidence booster that I was on track to kind of meet my goal. Pretty much also a part of my regulations to make World Relay team for Australia was to come back for nationals. So I came back to Perth first around April. So nationals was April 15th, around that kind of time. I came back, I think 5 days before that. So I came back to Perth, little training bit there to shake out, and then traveled to Adelaide after that to do nationals. Now, I learnt my lesson that I probably should have given myself a few more extra days for travel because my body hit jet lag fatigue really badly. I remember going to that nationals, had the heat, felt really good, but just like my body was just really exhausted from jet lag and from fatigueness. So that was like a whole different thing. Like having lactic tiredness is one thing, but having like a jet lag fatigue is like totally different. Like honestly, it was crazy. But won my heat, moved to the final. I felt amazing for the first like 300, 350. I think it was like the last 40 meters, my body just collapsed. And when I say I was swimming to that finish line, I was swimming, and I think I literally stumbled and I fell on the line. Like I'll literally add the photos here. But yeah, it was not the greatest race at all, but it didn't matter. All I had to do was kind of place top 5. I finished 4th at nationals. Now, I really wanted a medal, 2nd or 3rd, but unfortunately that didn't happen, but got the call the next few days to say that I had made the team, get on a flight straight away back to Texas just to get home, to get back into like a nice little training. So April time, World Relays was May, I think the first week of May. So we had training camp at the end of April. So I had allowed myself about 3 or 2 weeks of getting over the fatigue and getting back into building something, and then went to Miami for a training camp. So all the Australian girls, both 4x1, 4x4, and the men kind of came to Miami, where we were staged there, I think from Friday all the way to a Thursday. This was really good. Weather was great. Miami's beautiful. We all got along so well. So it was great to kind of connect all of us together. We landed in Bahamas. Now straight away, I swear, like I've never felt like royalty before until now, but they looked after us so well in Bahamas. I think we had police escorts when we got off the plane. We got taken to our hotel. Now we stayed at the Atlantis. The Atlantis is honestly like the most beautiful resort I've ever stayed at, honestly. Like it was like a castle. Like it's something you see at Disney, and we got to stay there. Like it was such an honor to be able to stay at this amazing place, but also such a temptation. Like there was water slides, there was activities, everything you could do, but we're there for World Relays and we need to like rest our body. And first senior team was definitely amazing to, you know, be able to put on the green and gold. But yeah, it was such a starstruck moment, I can tell you that for sure. We have shakeout day, which is the day before. So we arrived Thursday, shakeout was Friday, and then we had Saturday, Sunday were our race days. Now we had heats and then finals were Sunday. So pretty much how it works is that you have first round, top 2 automatically go to the final. Otherwise, everyone goes into a second chance to qualify for the Olympics. So they take the top 16 to the Olympics. And for us girls, it was going to be tough for us to make it. You know, we're such a young team in the professional scene, so it was doable, but there was definitely a lot of work we had to do. Day one, I was anchor for both races, which for me was such a big honor. Like, to have that responsibility was also a bit stressful, but it definitely was such a rewarding kind of leg to have that, you know, Athletics Australia believe that I was worthy enough to have the anchor leg. For me, I think that's such a prideful thing. It's my comfort zone. I love being anchor, I love chasing, but I didn't realize how much pressure that kind of came with on this kind of higher level. But we had a really good heat. I think we finished 3rd or 4th in our heat. So unfortunately we don't make it straight to the final. We have like a rapid charge race, like a second chance to make it to the Olympics. So didn't make top 2, but that's okay. We kind of knew that making the automatic into it was kind of a bit more challenging. So we get to Sunday. We unfortunately had the hardest draw of the heats. The same thing again. There's 3 heats for the set day 2, and only top 2 from each heat go to the Olympics. So unfortunately we finished, I think, 3rd or 4th maybe in that second chance, but we actually had a faster time than other countries, but because it's just the top 2 automatically go, we got bumped out. So honestly, for me, being the anchor, I felt that pressure so much. Like, I don't think I realized how much that race kind of affected me. So it took me a while after that race. I think I just walked off by myself, just got some air, and like, I just kind of felt like I left my team down. Like, I know it's a team event, everyone has, you know, put in their own effort, but for me, I took it really personally in a way. So it definitely took me some time to kind of breathe and reflect. So took my cool down, everything I needed to do, and kind of regrouped. Took a step back and kind of reflected that, you know, this was just the start of this year, of the stepping stone of my career. So it was kind of exciting, but yeah, it was also kind of really, really heartbreaking. But at the same time, I also felt like this was something that I could do. Like, I actually felt like I belonged in this sport, and I was able to hold myself against other athletes that I had idolized, that I had, you know, praised. And for that fact that I was able to hold myself, even compete at a higher level, it was such a big thing for me. So get back to Texas, regroup, refresh, you know, definitely has a big heart-sinking moment because of kind of the goals that we had set, and I really thought that I had a better chance of making a 4x4 relay team than I did as an individual athlete. So get back to Texas, we refresh, me and my coach, we pretty much had to switch. We switched from 400 to 400 hurdles. Now, I did a 400 hurdles earlier in the season just as a play around, so I knew my times for a 400 were there. I knew I had something, so I started the season at 57. I think my opener for that hurdles was a 56 high, so have the times necessarily straight away there. Now, there's 2 ways to qualify for 400 meter hurdles. There's either the automatic standard, which was at that time a 54.85, or there's a ranking system where you have to place top 40 in the world. Now, with the ranking system, you get ranked on your time, get ranked on the level of competition, the position, and then you have your average of 5 races. So pretty much what I had to do was have 5 consistent races that were really well placed and high meets. That sounds really confusing, and it took me a while myself to kind of navigate this system. It was definitely crazy. So I get back to Texas. I have a race in Atlanta at the end of May. So we get back, race was in May 31st I think it was, and this was in Atlanta. So flew to Atlanta, get there, everything's great. Now, this is the race with Celia McLaughlin where she opens up her hurdle race. Now, I think I was more starstruck than anything during this race. Yeah, it was an absolute honor to race against someone that, you know, you idolize and you kind of aspire to be like, and for her to be there, and she's such a sweet person. Like, she came over and had to talk to me and things like that, so it was really nice. I remember getting out really well with hurdle 3. She was right next to me and I was like, oh my gosh. But first 200 was really good, but then I think I just kind of like zone out in my race and kind of forget to run and forget to press. Like, I still run a decent time. I think I ran a 56 low, but I wasn't happy with the race. Like, I kind of finished the line and I was like, what just happened, more than anything. So wasn't happy exactly, you know, where I want. I think I finished 4th at that race, so was the C ranking meet. It was okay. So regroup, get back to Texas. there wasn't many meets left in the US. I think there was one more meet at that time, which was a last chance meet in the US. It was back in Atlanta, so we decided, although it wasn't a highly ranked meet, we kind of needed to get more races in. Pretty much set myself up for the next few weeks before qualification period ends. So the qualification period ends June 30th. Selection for the Olympic Games kind of finishes. We traveled to Atlanta. I think I stayed at someone's house. Like nothing was properly organized whatsoever, but rock up to the meet. There was 2 other girls. It was around my time, so I knew that there was other girls there that were kind of gonna at least push each other, so it wasn't just like a waste of meat. So go there, shake out, feeling great. Like the track was really good, temperature was really well, so got out really happy with the race. I think I jumped from a 56 mid down to a 55.7. PB after PB, like every week I've been PBing, which is really reassuring to kind of have that momentum going and be able to stay so positive after World Relays, you know, having such a big setback. So Atlanta, we win that meet. Was kind of at that point chasing the automatic standard, but we didn't have much time to play around with hurdles because of World Relays, so at that time we were just chasing world ranking points. From there I traveled back to Texas, have another week, and then I had another meet in Bahamas June 16th, I think it was. At that time, when I was getting ready for Bahamas, packing my bag, me and my coach decided that after Bahamas we were gonna head straight to Europe. Now this is also because, like I said, the races in the USA were pretty much ending because USA trials were about to happen, so pretty much either I had to go to South America, find some competitions there, or go to Europe. So we head to Bahamas. I literally packed my bag for it. Like I wasn't sure if I was going for a week, a day. I didn't know what countries I was going to go to. We were just trying to find any competition that we could pretty much get an opportunity for me to race in. Now we get to Bahamas. I remember there was a delay in the flight already. We get there and my room wasn't even ready. Wait there until all the rooms got in, so walked around the hotel, kind of explored a little bit. We stayed like right on the beach, so I think I grabbed some bathers and I pretty much head to the water and just kind of have like a little bit of a shakeout, kind of recruit before dinner. We were able to get out of room I think just after dinner, so got there, checked in. Next day we had shakeout. I'm pretty sure the weather wasn't great, so just doing a shakeout quickly as much as I could, go over 1-2 hurdles, get back to the hotel, get food into me, go for a beach recovery. I loved Bahamas, I love the hot weather, I love the beach. It reminds me so much of Australia, which I was kind of missing at that point. I love the Bahama like atmosphere. It's always really cool environment. Had lane 4 or 5, which I was really happy with. Unfortunately there was a bit of a headwind around the 200-300 meter mark, so got out really well. Was really happy with my start. I think there was, like I said, a bit of a headwind around hurdle 5 and 6, where usually I'm able to kind of push my stride out a little bit longer, but I had to kind of chop, which kind of threw me off a little bit, but that was okay. It threw me off a little bit in the bend and then get into the straight, and I had a really good comeback in the straight, and pretty much from hurdle 10 was able to slingshot off there and really get the win for that race. So really such a confidence booster to come into that race, not only PR again, but also to get the win. Me and my coach decided to go to Madrid, so there was a race on the 21st in Madrid. Now I wasn't confirmed for that race, but I was on the standby list, so we had a race on the 22nd that was 100% confirmed, and that was in Geneva, Switzerland, but we decided to go to Madrid because we were on standby and we had people that we knew that were staying there, so I was able to go stay with them, which helped a lot, you know, with cost of apartments and Airbnb, so I didn't have to pay anything there. We travelled the 17th, I arrived on the 18th, so I had 2 or 3 days there in Madrid to kind of shake out, get a little bit of training in. Wasn't able to get onto necessarily track, so it was a lot of just gravel, street path, kind of going for long runs at that point. I get the call, I think on the 19th at night time, that someone's pulled out, that I was confirmed. So the next day was able to go to the track for a shakeout, get a feeling of the track. Now the track there is honestly stunning. It's a green track. I think this is probably one of my favorite tracks that I have been on. I really like the atmosphere, and the warm-up track is actually like above the stadium, which is really cool to like look out on. Shakeout went okay. I think I was just getting a feeling of everything. Very overwhelming. This was my first time in Europe for a while. I think the last time I was in Europe was 2016 as a junior, so first time in Europe alone definitely is a bit daunting, I can tell you that much, but was able to kind of maneuver myself around. Race day comes. Now race was at 8 p.m. at night, so this is like quite a late race for me personally. Usually I like to race midday, afternoon, but have my Red Bull, so I usually have half a Red Bull before a race. Now I will regret this later, I can tell you now. Have my Red Bull, warm up goes really well, get to the start line. I was in lane 3 maybe for this race, so got out really well. Like, I was really happy with my race. Execution wise, compared to Bahamas, I was able to really execute around that last bend. The straight wasn't as clean as I'd like it to be, considering my race last time was a lot cleaner, my last hurdle, so definitely stumbled a little bit at hurdle 10, but was able to run through the line. Now, at this time I really thought that I had the auto cue. I think just because the way I was feeling, I really thought I like hit a 54.8, but look at the time, it was like 55.15, so was definitely a little bit heartbroken because I wasn't really sure how many more chances I would get to run, but got the second in that race, so worth a lot of points. Time was really well, PB, can't complain too much. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of pros and cons from that race. So get back to where I was staying. I remember getting back, trying to like cool down, get food into me straight away, and like getting ready for bed because I had a flight the next day. I think it was at 7 o'clock, so I had to get up at 5 to be at the airport around 6ish, so leave at 5:30. I remember like trying to go to sleep, and like me having that late race, my brain was definitely ticking, and the Red Bull did not help whatsoever. So I remember just trying to fall asleep, and at that point, like when you're in bed, you're just like, I need to sleep, I need to sleep. You're trying to like convince yourself to fall asleep, but like nothing was happening. Like I remember like telling myself, don't check your phone, and then at one point I had to get up and pee, so I like looked at my phone to kind of like see where I was going, and it was like 2 a.m. I swear. Like I was just like, are you kidding me? Like why am I not asleep? But was able to get something again. I think it was about 3 hours, maybe 4 hours of sleep. Wake up at 5 o'clock. I had the Uber already requested at 5:30, so quickly got ready, jumped in the cab, got to the airport. Now there isn't much open in the airports at that early in the morning, especially in a European country like that's healthy. Like most of the food that's available is coffee, baguettes and croissants. So I remember like trying to find something to eat for breakfast, and I think I had a baguette and two chocolate croissants because I was like, anything is better than nothing at this point. I stayed away from caffeine just because I wanted to try and get some more sleep on the plane, so tried to avoid caffeine as much as possible. So we fly from Madrid, Spain to Geneva, Switzerland, so that was like I think an hour and a half flight. Wasn't too bad, was able to get some sleep. I did pay for like an upgrade for that flight, so I was able to get some food into me. So they provided me a little breakfast, which was really good. Honestly, like when I was there on the flight, I was like, thank goodness I paid for this extra. That way I could just get a little bit more substance into me. We landed in Geneva, I think around 9 o'clock. Now my race that day was at 1 p.m. So I had to be warming up around, 11:30, 12 o'clock for my race at like 1. Luckily the track wasn't too far away from the hotel. The airport wasn't too far from the hotel wasn't really far from the track. So get off the flight, pretty much go straight to the hotel. My room wasn't ready, or they didn't have any beds available, so I just chucked my stuff into one of my friend's room. I think I closed my eyes for 30 minutes just to try and get something into me. Get changed, get ready, pretty much get on the bus to head to the track. So I'm in the hotel for I think less than an hour by getting ready, having a quick nap, jumping back on the bus and heading back to the track. Now I was definitely tired, I definitely was a bit drained, so try to find a shop for like my half a Red Bull that I like to have before, but there was literally nothing available, like nothing open around me. So I literally Uber Eats a Red Bull and I think some candy to the track, and it cost me 25 USD, which is like $35-40 Australian for a Red Bull and some candy. I think this was the most expensive Red Bull I've ever paid for. Like I was like, I don't really care at this point, I just need something. But Geneva was really cold, wet and rainy, so it wasn't the greatest conditions. Luckily they had some indoor area for us to warm up in. I think I found a corner before my race and had like a 20-minute power nap, just closed my eyes and just rested. But I was really smart with my warm-up, kept it really short, sharp, really intentional. Things were okay. My body, I know, didn't feel the best, but that was okay. Kind of was like, nope, I'm fine. Kept getting my head right. Probably asleep, but I'm calling you right now for my good luck. So yes, I'm gonna give it all I can and get to the line. Get to the start line. The track's wet as heck. Get out okay. That was alright. My change area around 5 or 6 was really bad. I think because there was a bit of a headwind, everything kind of wasn't flowing well. So that race wasn't the cleanest thing ever, I can tell you that. But home straight, it was kind of like my race back in Atlanta with Sydney, where I didn't really feel like I was 100% in the race. I think I was still a bit sleepy, not fully awake in my race. Crossed the line in 4th. Now this was like a C ranked me, so kind of needed these points, and you kind of need to place higher to get like low points, but unfortunately finished 4th. Still 55.9, which is still okay. It wasn't a PB or anything like that, but I was happy that it was still a consistent time. I remember getting off the track and I was kind of really disappointed, but you know, there was nothing I can do at that point, so I cooled down, kind of cheered on. There were some other Australians there as well at the track meet. Got back to the hotel that had food there available and pretty much called my coach straight away. I was calling her and I was just like, I'm not happy with that race. Like, nothing went how I planned it to be. Like I told her, I kind of didn't feel like I was in the race at all. You know, what's the next plan now? And this was around the 22nd of June, so there isn't really much races left. There was a race in Poland the next day, which I knew looking at the world ranking list that all the girls that were around where I was, I think at that time I was sitting around 38th. So I was in the quota, but it was really close for me. I remember seeing like the girls on the start list for the Poland race were really close to me. So I knew that for me not to get bumped out of the top 40, I had to get myself into that Poland meet. So I rang up my coach, I rang up the manager that I have connections with, and I was like, you know, what are the chances of me getting into this race? Like, you know, is there someone going to pull out? Like, can we get in contact with them? Like, told them that, you know, if I'm not in this race, my Olympic dream is pretty much gone. Like, that's it, really. That was as straightforward as I could be. So he had a call to the meet director and he got back to me pretty much like straight away. I think I remember sitting at dinner, I was eating my dinner with like some other friends from Australia, and I was like laughing at her, like, oh, I'm trying to get into the pool and meet, like, you know, laughing at as a joke because I've just been jumping countries and races for the last few days. So I remember seeing managers like phone come up and I was like, what the heck? Like, guys, I'm gonna be in Poland, like this is a joke. And then like answer it and he's like, how quickly can you be on a flight? And I was like, now, tomorrow, like now. And he's like, yeah. He said, unfortunately, I have lane 1. And I was like, I don't care. I'll take it. Like, at least this way I'm in control of my outcome. You know, if I'm in that race, then I am in control of the outcome that I decide. But it's just like right now, if I don't get into that race, I wasn't gonna have an outcome kind of situation. So me and my coach decided to get a good night's sleep. We stay at the hotel just because we're there, and get a good night's sleep, get some good food into us, and we'll recoup the next day. So the race on the 23rd wasn't until an afternoon, so from around at 3 o'clock, so I had a bit more time in the morning to travel. So same thing, get up the next morning, get on an early flight, fly from Geneva to Frankfurt. We have a layover in Frankfurt quickly, and then from Frankfurt to Poland. Now unfortunately, during that changeover, my luggage gets lost. Thankfully, I had all my like race kit I needed in my backpack. I learned that the hard way, I think, at one time, so didn't really stress about my luggage too much. But got to Poland, Poznan is where I was at. Someone came pick me up, which was really, really helpful. Got to the hotel, checked in, had a shower, got like lunch in, and kind of just be able to chill for a little bit. I think I had another power nap, as you do, and kind of got ready for the race and head to the track. This is my 3rd race in 3 days, so my body was definitely feeling it. Getting to the track, I remember calling my coach and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have fun in this race. And she's like, no, you need to zone in. But I think me just kind of taking this race a little bit more, not chill, but just more like enjoyment, really helped a lot. So I was a lot more present, you know, not trying to stress about an automatic standard or trying to think about that. It was more just about going in, doing what I love and what I'm good at, you know, and trusting that my training, trusting the process, you know, that's happening. So warm-up wasn't the greatest. like I said, my body was definitely tired, so I was feeling it. But get to the start line, lane 1, which for me as a tall person isn't the greatest, but get out so well. Like I get out from lane 1 and I was just executing every hurdle so well. Like I passed the girls and I was like what is happening? Like I was feeling so good. Get around to the last 100 and was just definitely feeling the grind a lot more. But I remember crossing that line and just was so thankful that like I finished first. Directors coming over to me and handing me this piece of cardboard, and I like look at it, like grab it thinking it's just like your first place, and I grab down and I look at it and it's like meet record, and I was like, wait, what just happened? But yeah, so I won that meet, got the meet record. I think my time was a 55.4, so it wasn't on my qualify, which is what I was still chasing with, but I knew that I crossed that line, and I knew that for me to win or place top 2 at least, that I had pretty much secured my position in the top 40. Yeah, walking off that track, it was so surreal. Like I remember getting off of it and just in shock that I just competed in 5 races within 16 days in 5 different countries. 3 of them alone were 3 races in 3 days in 3 different countries, like with less than 24 hours between each race. Like if you asked me this at the start of the season, if I was capable of that, I would have laughed in your face. But the fact that I'm stepping off that track, potentially able to call myself an Olympian, was mind-blowing. I remember calling my best friend straight away, and I was just like in complete tears and shock, because this is something that athletes work towards, you know, year in, year out, and we only have one chance in every 4 years. And the fact that I literally took this opportunity and freaking went with it is just insane. So yeah, like even now I'm still completely in shock, and I'm really hoping that my next year is never going to have to come to this. But it really goes to show that if you really want something bad enough, that you will put your mind, your body and your soul on the line for it, because that's what I did. I had this Olympic dream, and I used that, and that was my fuel and that was my fire. Yeah, to come off that track in Poland, just having the confidence and just being proud, like at the end of the day, no matter what the outcome was, if I did, you know, happen to get bumped out, I was just so proud of my performance, so proud of the way I handled myself throughout the track. It was just an honor to be able to represent, you know, everything that I stand for. So for those that have been following, I have been on this crazy journey probably last week, just chasing either like a qualifier for the Olympics or world ranking position for athletics. I could officially say I am done racing. Last week from Bahamas to Madrid, Geneva, like it's been a crazy journey. I am caffeined out, sleep deprived, do not know what country I'm in anymore, do not know what time zone I'm in. I don't even know like what day it is right now. So I'm heading back to the US today, thank goodness, getting some much needed rest and recovery, as you can see, and we are hoping and waiting. Pretty much plan myself back to Texas, because, you know, waiting for that call or potential outcome. Now the only thing is that a week left till the, you know, closing period of the Olympics. So although I think I moved up to 33 in the world rankings, there was still another week that people could move in and out of that world ranking system. Now for us Australians, we didn't have nationals like a lot of countries would have their national championships that last week of June, but because Australia had ours so much earlier in the season, we didn't get that chance. So we were pretty much just waiting. It was just a week of waiting and watching other people perform, which definitely was a lot scary, but I knew that I had done everything that I possibly can. If for some reason I did get bumped out of it, it wasn't going to be the biggest deal, because at the end of the day I'd done everything and anything I possibly could do, put myself in the best foot forward. So June 30th closes. I am within the top 40, so I have made the team unofficially. So now it was just waiting for Australian Athletics to kind of call me to officially select me. I had done everything possible, and I was able to continue this journey and potentially be able to call myself Olympian.